It's a great way to learn about the system and its features. Plus, you can learn at your own pace at a time that's convenient. Hello and welcome. This is the Learning and Accreditation program for the Aconex platform. It's a great way to learn about the system and its features. Plus, you can learn at your own pace at a time that's convenient for you. All the learning content is free, you just need to register. If you want to get an accreditation, you'll need to pay a small fee and successfully pass an assessment, and details about this can be found on the course page. There are 3 levels. Associate and Professional focus on the features and functionality that the majority of people will use. Specialist covers specific features and modules. Let's take a closer look. Aconex Associate helps you master the essential skills. It provides you with the knowledge to make Aconex easier and more effective. You'll learn about the Aconex model, how organisations create and share information, and the importance of revision control. It's aimed at all users of Aconex. It covers the basic skills and understanding that are important for everyone, even if you don't use the system frequently. Aconex Professional helps you build on the essential skills. It provides you with the additional knowledge to help you get the most from Aconex. You'll learn about managing larger volumes of information and the principles of good document control. It's aimed at frequent users of Aconex, those that use it regularly and those who are responsible for managing large volumes of documents and mail. Finally, Aconex Specialist helps you administer your project and team. It provides you with the knowledge to successfully manage your organisation, its users and your projects. You'll learn good practice principles and the importance of documenting how your project is configured. It's aimed primarily at users that need to administer their organisation or a project, and it covers how to configure a project along with some more advanced features. We've designed the learning content to be progressive. Start with the associate level content if you're new to Aconex or haven't used it for a while, and then move on to the professional level when you're comfortable with the fundamentals. Then the specialist level if you're an administrator or if you need to administrate Aconex for your organisation or project. We know some of you might want to skip certain content, and that's okay. Just be aware that each level will make some assumptions about your existing knowledge and understanding. We'll leave you with a quote. Happy learning. When you complete the learning, you may want to prove your knowledge and skills by taking an assessment. This is optional, but we know a lot of people like to test themselves. Here's how you do that. First, remember that all the learning content is free, but we do charge a small fee for the assessments. Here's how the assessment works. There are 50 questions. They're a mix of multiple choice, multi-select and true and false. There's a limit of 40 minutes to answer all the questions. And you'll need to score 80% to pass, which means getting 40 out of 50 questions correct. But you can retake the assessment as many times as you like. If you pass, you'll be able to share the badge. We recommend LinkedIn so that it's seen by your professional network. If you're following the learning path, you'll see the assessment at the end of the path. If you've already purchased the assessment, you can simply take it. Otherwise, you'll be redirected to the store to purchase it. As soon as your payment has been processed, you'll get an email. Then you'll be able to take the assessment. Typically, we process most orders within a few days, but if you choose to pay on account, that will take longer. If you purchase multiple assessments, for example for your team, we'll send you an email with a specific link that you'll need to send to your colleagues. That link can only be used for the number of assessments purchased. Aconex Associate is aimed at all users of Aconex. It covers the basic skills and understanding that are important for everyone, even if you don't use the system frequently. It'll provide you with the knowledge to make Aconex easier to use and more effective. You'll learn about the Aconex model, how organisations create and share information, and the importance of revision control. There are no requirements to start learning, and we'll assume you're new to Aconex. Let's take a look at the learning objectives. The objectives are to help you understand how Aconex will benefit your project team, how to easily find and retrieve information when you need it, and how to communicate and send documents to others on a project. There are 4 courses to complete: Aconex Fundamentals, Working with Documents, Working with Mail, and Making Aconex Work for You. Each level has courses, and each course has a number of lessons and related topics. We recommend you complete them in the order provided, but you can also jump around and complete anything that interests you. Whatever your approach, the system will remember what you've done and what's left. Here are the key competencies you'll have when you complete the Aconex Associate Learning. Feel free to hit the pause button here if you need more time to read them. In summary, take your time and don't be afraid to go back over certain topics. Sometimes things don't always make sense the first time. It happens to all of us. Happy learning. Aconex Professional is aimed at frequent users of Aconex, those that use it regularly and those that are responsible for managing large volumes of documents and mail. It builds on the fundamentals of Aconex. It provides you with the additional knowledge to help you get the most from Aconex. You'll learn about managing larger volumes of information and the principles of good document control. It will also assume some basic understanding of Aconex, so we recommend completing the associate level learning first if you've not already done so. Let's take a look at the learning objectives. You'll learn how to manage large volumes of information efficiently, how to track and report on key information, and you'll become familiar with controlling project communications. There are 4 courses to complete: Document Management Made Simple, Managing Multiple Documents, Mail Reporting, and Reviewing Documents. Each level has courses, and each course has a number of lessons and related topics. We recommend you complete them in the order provided, but you can also jump around to complete anything that interests you. Whatever your approach, the system will remember what you've done and what's left. Here are the key competencies you'll have when you complete the Aconex Professional Learning. Feel free to hit the pause here if you need more time to read them. Take your time and don't be afraid to go back over certain topics. Sometimes things don't always make sense the first time. It happens to all of us. Happy learning. Aconex Specialist is aimed at administrators of Aconex that need to administer their own organisation or a project. It covers how to configure a project along with some advanced features. It introduces Aconex administration and provides you with the knowledge to successfully manage your organisation, its users and your projects. You'll learn good practice principles and the importance of documenting how your project is configured. Let's take a look at the learning objectives. You'll learn how to control the creation of information. You'll learn about efficient management of the project, your organisation and its users. And we'll cover documentation and basic change management principles. Here are the courses: Organisation Administration, Project Administration and User Administration. Each level has courses, and each course has a number of lessons and related topics. We recommend you complete them in the order provided, but you can also jump around and complete anything that interests you. Whatever your approach, the system will remember what you've done and what's left. Here are the key competencies you'll have when you complete the specialist learning. Feel free to hit the pause here if you need more time to read them. Take your time and don't be afraid to go back over certain topics. Sometimes things don't always make sense the first time. It happens to all of us. If Aconex is new to you, you might be wondering, what's it all about? Well, in a word, it's about collaboration. At its heart, Aconex is a platform that enables teams to collaborate better and centralise the information for the entire project team. It makes sharing and managing information easy and efficient. Let's kick things off with a short video that explains the basics.
So, what is Aconex? Construction and engineering projects generate thousands of documents, drawings and other types of information. Aconex stores all of this information securely online and provides tools that help you collaborate and keep your project on track. With Aconex, you can access your information anytime and anywhere there's an internet connection. Here's how it works. In Aconex, each organisation has a document register. It's like a digital filing cabinet that has no limit on how many documents it can store. Everyone in your organisation that is invited to the project can see everything in the document register that's not marked confidential. If you want to share any of those documents or drawings with another organisation, you send it to them, and we call this a transmittal. In Aconex, correspondence and documents can't be deleted. We keep a record of everything. You'll always know what the current version of the document is and who's holding up the process in document reviews. This level playing field ensures shared accountability, no matter the size of the project or organisations involved. You can also automate correspondence so that the right people always get the right information and respond with exactly what you need to keep the project moving. You use the mail module for correspondence, questions, answers, advice, and instructions. In mail, you group correspondence with mail types, which make it easy to search and retrieve correspondence down the track. The Documents module is used for all documents, drawings, specifications and schedules that need to go through a series of revisions. When you upload documents, you have to tag or classify information against the document so that it can be easily searched for in your document registry. So, the key thing to remember is this little bit of work up front to tag your information will save you a lot of time down the track when it comes to finding things. It also enables workflows and other tools to work properly. This will ultimately help you save time and money across the entire project. Once you've logged into Aconex, the Tasks page is the first thing you'll see. It's your homepage within Aconex. A list of all your projects appear in the side menu, and you can switch between them here or up by the Oracle Aconex logo. Along the top of Aconex, you'll see what we refer to as modules. You'll see the core Aconex modules here, like Documents, Mail, Workflows, Directory, and Reports. And if your organisation has activated any other Aconex modules, such as Packages, Cost, these will appear here as well. In the centre of the Tasks page, you'll see at a glance any outstanding tasks you have in your module. Help is never too far away. If you're looking for a how-to article on a specific topic, use the search bar here. You'll also find a list of your organisation administrators and our contact information here. And finally, on the right side of the app, you'll see your project details, shortcuts to common tasks, and links to support centres, your one-stop shop for training and support in Aconex. Thanks for using Aconex. It's great to be with you.
Hopefully the video has answered some of your initial questions. Throughout the rest of this associate level content, we'll dig a little deeper on some of the topics like documents and their versions, correspondence and mail, security and accountability, and further help and training. To finish, here are the lessons in the associate level content. Right now you're completing the first lesson, or Aconex overview. The next course has lessons that focus on documents, then after that you'll learn about mail. And finally, you end with learning about preferences and other behind the scenes information that you'll need from time to time. If you finish them all, you'll be ready to take full advantage of the Aconex platform. And you may even want to take the assessment to gain your accreditation. Have you ever thought about what collaboration means? If you look up the dictionary definition, you'll find something like this. It's the action of working with someone to produce something. In the context of a project, it's no different. If you're part of a project team, you'll need to collaborate with others to get things done. It's unavoidable. Collaboration is all about a team of people working together to complete a project. We've worked with thousands of teams, and we know there are 3 key factors to good collaboration. Effective communication is often what separates successful teams from the bad ones. Having clear instructions from the start and throughout the life of the project delivery is crucial, along with being prepared to ask questions instead of assuming. Reliability is about building trust. Without it, you don't have a team, just some people working together. A great team can rely on each other to get their work done, to do what they say they will do. The team's success depends on everyone's effort and contribution, and this is particularly important for remote teams. Reliability is closely linked to the next one, responsibility. Knowing who is doing what and when is a major success factor on any project. There's a funny story about responsibility that you might have heard before. It's a story about 4 people named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realised that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have. On any project, it's easy to assume that someone else will take care of a task or piece of work. That doesn't mean you have to do the work that others should be doing. It just means that everyone should make the effort to know who is responsible for doing what, especially where deadlines are involved. When project teams collaborate well, we see a number of benefits. We see a reduction in the project costs, a reduction in the administration work, and a reduction in duplicated work, which can often lead to mistakes. Now, these benefits are always going to be hard to realise, but if you get the collaboration right, you improve your chances no end. We'll sneak in a final factor, technology. It's unavoidable on projects. Now, you don't have to be an expert to get the most from technology, but if something's new to you, you'll have to persevere a little at the start as you get used to using new tools and platforms. A little bit of time spent upfront learning the basics will pay dividends in the long run. We know from many years of experience that teams who make the effort up front to understand the new technology will gain the most from it, and that means great collaboration. The fact that you are completing this training means you're already ahead of most people. Let's start with a statistic. In construction, over a third of each week is spent on non-productive activities, and that includes looking for information. I'll wager you've probably experienced frustration at spending too much time trying to find stuff. And that 35% also includes resolving conflicts and dealing with mistakes and rework. Information is critical to the success of every single project, from the biggest to the smallest. If that information is mismanaged, it can result in delays, penalties, and cost overruns. One more stat. Over half of all rework is caused by poor data and miscommunication. It's scary. So where do we start? Well, let's take a look at how Aconex helps you and your team manage project-related information. We'll start with a clip from one of our foundation training videos.
In Aconex, we balance the need for data security with the need to collaborate with others. We like to say that in Aconex, information is securely stored and selectively shared. Organizations can only see the information in their own document registers, and they decide what they share with others. In Aconex, correspondence and documents can't be deleted. Aconex keeps a record of everything so that you can always see who's done what. This level playing field ensures shared accountability no matter the size of the project or organizations involved. Aconex is your single source of truth on the project. Instead of having hundreds of different tools, Aconex is all you need. You'll always know what the current version of a document is and who's holding.
Let's recap. All project-related information is stored in one place. That makes it easier to locate information because, you've guessed it, it's all in one place. It's a simple model for managing information. In fact, it's very similar to the real world. The first thing to remember is that each company or organisation controls what information they add to their project on Aconex. Information like drawings, reports, manuals, and all the related correspondence. Second, they control who sees that information. Nobody gets to see everything. And that's important. It's sometimes assumed that the company paying for Aconex gets to see all the documents and correspondence from everyone on the project. That's not true. You get to see information that you and your company add, along with information sent to you and your company by others on the project. Everyone controls their own information. Here's an example. An organisation adds or uploads a new document. At that point, only people in that organisation who have access to that project can see the new document. They'll need to send it to other organisations in order for those organisations to have access to it. As you saw in the video clip, we refer to this as securely stored but selectively shared. Again, remember, no single organisation has access to all the information within a project. This means each organisation securely controls and shares information whilst maintaining great collaboration. This is a great question, and one that will often provide different answers depending on who you ask. In everyday terms, we create documents with things like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and CAD applications and the like. Documents are things we encounter every single day. So much so, it can be tricky to define what they actually are. In the context of a project, we can be a little bit more specific. You might say that documents describe requirements. They tell us what needs to be done and often how to do it. Drawings and specifications are great examples of this. Documents explain processes and procedures. Contracts, reports and schedules are documents too. Manuals, certificates, warranties, the list goes on. Collectively, they may be referred to as documentation or document sets. One thing's for certain, without documents it would be next to impossible to get anything built. All projects generate documentation and documents, and they're crucial to its success. Documents often go through a series of revisions or versions, and they often need to be reviewed by various team members before they can be used. We'll talk about these things in a little bit more detail in other lessons. But it's often what's meant by the term controlled document. It typically means documents that are stored in a system or on a platform like Aconex and that are used by others. When you initially create a document or file, you'll need to get it to a certain state before others can use it. And that will often involve going through multiple drafts and amendments. When it's ready for use, you add it to the system or platform and make it available for others. Any updates will follow a similar process of amending and review before reissuing a new version. And that's essentially what controlled documents are. Let's finish with a question we often get asked. What document should we put on Aconex? The lazy answer would be every document, but that's not very useful, is it? The better answer would be any document that is important to the project and project team. If a document is needed in order for someone to do something to get the project finished, then it should be on Aconex. Let's get straight into Aconex so we can see what's going on. This is the task page that you see when you first log in. We'll take a more detailed look at this in another lesson, but for now it's worth pointing out the top menu. You may not see all the modules here, and that's because it depends on what your team has decided to use and configure. Let's open the document register. Quick tip here, you can also double click the module name. The document register is where we upload, manage and share all project related documents. You can think of it as a little bit like a filing cabinet. The only difference is you can access the documents via any internet connection 24 hours a day. As we add each document, we tag it with key information that can be customized for each project. We then use this information to find the documents whenever we need them. The document register is specific to your organisation. Anyone in your organisation that is part of the project can see all the documents that your organisation has added or has been sent. The exception is confidential documents, and we'll cover that in a later lesson. This organisation-centric register means that everything is stored in one place, and that makes it easier to locate documents. Another benefit is there are no file limits on file formats, file sizes or numbers of files that can be stored in the document register. Now, let's take a look along the upper part of the screen. These are called fields and they store the information tags we just mentioned. Some of these fields are common to all projects, whilst others are specific just to your project. And some of the common fields cannot be switched off. They are document number, title, revision, status, and type. These standard fields create consistency from project to project. And they're also mandatory, which means they cannot be left empty. And this ensures a minimum amount of tagging or information for each document. Other fields that you'll find commonly in use on projects are things like discipline, zone, level, and building. Let's take a quick look at how we use these fields to locate documents. First, we'll show all the documents in the register by clicking the search button. We've got a lot of results. Check out that total on the left. But we can filter the results to make it easier. We'll use the discipline field to only find electrical documents, and that is any document tagged with electrical. Now we see the list of results or documents is much smaller. Let's refine it a little further by narrowing the results down to a specific type of document. Let's select drawings from the document type field. Now all we see are electrical drawings. One last filter. We'll only show documents with a for construction status. That's how easy it is, and to start a new search again, we click the clear button. In another lesson, we'll cover searching for documents in more detail. Here's an interesting stat. Project stakeholders were asked about the causes of poor communication. The top reason was being unresponsive to questions and requests. We've all experienced that, right? Chasing people, trying to get an answer out of someone. Let's take a few steps back and look at what we use to communicate to our fellow project team members. All projects generate lots of correspondence. If we want to reduce miscommunication, we need to understand how Aconex helps with the mail module. Aconex Mail is similar to email in day-to-day use, and we'll look at some of the key differences next. It's used as a method to communicate with the project team and within your own team too. It's used to ask questions, provide answers to questions, and to give direction or instruction. Years of experience have confirmed to us that poor communication within a project team is easily one of the biggest causes of project delays and increased project costs. Before we explain what makes Aconex Mail different, let's get back to basics with communications. It's really easy to get bogged down in all the types of correspondence used on a project, not to mention all the abbreviations and acronyms. It's much easier to think about communications and correspondence in terms of their reason. And there are really only 3 reasons we communicate. The first is asking questions or requesting something. A request for information, or RFI, is a great example of this. Next is where we provide information or advice to someone. Often there is no obligation with this, but that doesn't mean we should be lazy in providing that information or advice. The final reason we communicate is to provide direction or instruction. In a project context, these often do have some kind of obligation associated with them. Maybe there's a penalty if they're not actioned within a specific time frame. And examples of these include things like site instructions and change orders. It's really useful to come back to these 3 reasons when discussing communications on a project. Remember that stat at the beginning? What if there are multiple ways to ask a question or provide instruction? That can easily cause confusion and result in miscommunication. Coming back to the 3 reasons and making sure that everyone knows what type of communication is being used by whom and when is always going to help. Let's finish with the key differences of Aconex Mail. Even though it's similar to email, there are a couple of differences worth noting. First, there are no limits in terms of the number of mails, attachment size, or recipients. So no more warnings about your mailbox being full. Second, once a mail is sent, it cannot be deleted or altered, and this provides a complete and reliable audit trail of all communications and conversations. And then finally, Aconex ensures delivery of each mail item within the project, and that means no mail is ever lost. We're going to get straight into Aconex so we can see what's going on. This is the task page that you see when you first log in, and we'll take a more detailed look at this in another lesson, but for now it's worth pointing out the top menu. You may not see all the modules here, and that's because it depends on what your team has decided to use and configure. Let's open the mail register. Quick tip here, you can also double click the module name. The mail register is where we create, respond to and manage all project related correspondence. There are no folders, instead we search for and locate mail using various fields and tags. The mail register is organisation centric, and that means you get to see all the mails sent and received by your organisation even if you didn't send or receive it directly. The only exception is confidential mail. Along the top of the screen you can see different tabs. These allow you to only look at mail that has been sent to your organisation, or mail that has been sent by your organisation. And there's also a drafts area for mail that is still being edited and not sent. Draft mails are the only mail items that can be deleted. We'll go into more detail about creating and managing mail in another video. Searching for mail is very simple. When we create mail, we assign a mail type. Let's search for all the RFIs that have been sent to our organisation. As you can see, each mail is automatically assigned a unique number within the project, and this provides a reliable and unique way of identifying every single piece of correspondence within a project. As with documents, some of the fields are common to all projects, whilst others are specific and customised for each project. You can filter the results based on any combination of this information. That's how easy it is, and to start our search again, we click Clear. In another lesson, we'll cover searching for mail in a lot more detail. Time to test your understanding with a simple quiz. What you need to do is decide if the type of information will be used as a document in Aconex or as a piece of mail. There may be more than one way of doing something, but the answers here are based on our general experience and recommendations. You'll get 5 seconds to decide before we reveal the answer. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's start with report. Is it a document or a piece of mail? It's a document. Reports are very common on projects and provide specific information to the team, and examples include site inspections and surveys. Next is drawing. Is it a document or a piece of mail? Easy one. It's a document. Drawings form the largest percentage of documents on projects, and without them, it would be next to impossible to get anything built. They're used from the very start of a project's life to the very end. Then we have advice, document or mail. This would be a piece of mail, and these are used to provide guidance and clarification to the project team. For example, the consultant may send advice to the head contractor. Next is site instruction. Is it a document or a piece of mail? This is another mail. Typically, they are used by their main or head contractor to communicate with subcontractors, and they're formal instructions that often have contractual implications. What about procedure? Document or mail? This is a document, and these define steps and actions and often include flowcharts. They'd be used by the team to ensure they perform an action correctly or abide by certain compliance requirements. Now, RFI. Is it a document or a piece of mail? An RFI is a question that needs an answer, and they often have contractual implications. We'd recommend using mail, but there are some teams that do use these as documents. Then we have manual, document or mail. Easy one this. It's a document. We've all used manuals at some point, often alongside processes and procedures. Next is TQ. Is it a document or a piece of mail? It's a mail. A TQ or a technical query is basically the same as an RFI. And as with RFIs, there are some teams that do use these as documents. And that's where our consulting team can help with advice to help you make the right decision. What about NCR? Document or mail? It's mail. Non-conformance reports, or NCRs, are issues raised relating to deviations or quality standards not being met. Now, this is another one where teams do sometimes choose documents over mail. As before, our consultants are ideally placed to help your team decide on the best approach. Last one, specification. Is it a document or a piece of mail? Definitely a document. You'll see plenty of these on a project because they describe what work is required and they're often used alongside drawings. That's it, you're done. Hopefully you've got most of them right. Okay, let's get logged into Aconex. The first thing to remember is that Aconex is a cloud-based platform or service, and that means there's no software to download or install. All you need is a browser and an internet connection. To log in, head over to help.aconex.com, and this is our online help site, and we'll come back to this in another video. You'll find the login button here, and that will take you here. Now, we'll let one of our Foundations videos explain all you need to know about logging in.
There's a few ways to log into Aconex, which we're going to cover in this video. But before we do that, I want to draw your attention to an email you should have received. It looks like this. This email's very important because it contains your login name and your organization administrator's name. We often call that person the org admin. When you receive this email, you'll be prompted to confirm your user details. This is where you enter your Aconex password for the first time. It's a good idea to keep a copy of this somewhere safe so that you can refer to it later. So if you need to, pause the video, go find the email and your password and put it somewhere safe. If you don't have these pieces of information, we'll tell you how you can recover them later in this video. Okay, so now that's all taken care of, let's take a look at how we log into Aconex. Firstly, go to Support Central and click the Login button at the top of the page. Select your project location. This is also referred to as your Aconex instance. If you're going to be using the same project location every time, go ahead and check Remember My Selection and then click Go. Under the Aconex logo, you'll see the project location you just selected. Now remember that email we mentioned earlier. Refer to that now and go ahead and enter your login name and password. Then click the Login button. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. But what if you've misplaced your login email, forgotten your login, or entered the incorrect password? Login names and passwords are case sensitive, so first of all, check your spelling and make sure your caps lock is not on. If you've tried to log in a couple of times without success, or you've just forgotten, it's probably easiest just to reset your password. To do this, click the link underneath the login button. If you remember your login name, use that. If not, try your email address and click Go. In a few moments, you'll get an email from Aconex with a link to reset your password. Follow the link, enter and confirm your new password. But what if you can't remember your login name, or the email address used to register you on the project is not the same as your company email address? Here's where things can get a bit tricky. You would have been invited to the project by your organization administrator. They are the only people who can resend or reset this information for you. That's why we recommend the first time you log into Aconex, you click the help link. This opens up a window and displays a list of the org admins. Make a note of these names for future reference. If you still don't know who your org admin is, give us a call and we can tell you. It's a bit of a process, but it's one of the ways we keep Aconex secure. If you're working on multiple projects or have multiple Aconex accounts, global login makes logging in much easier. To log in via global login, click the link at the bottom of the login screen. This will take you to the global login sign-in page. If this is your first time, you'll need to go through a few steps to set up your global login ID. Fill in the information on this form. The email address you enter at this step will become your global login ID. This can be any email address that you own, and it's not necessarily your company email address. Once you've confirmed your email, you can start using global login and begin linking your accounts. So to recap, make sure you keep the email with your login information in a safe place and take a note of your org admin's names. If you forget your password and know what your login name is, you can reset your own password from the login screen. If you forget your login name and email address, you'll need to ask your org admin to reset it for you. If you don't know who your org admin is, you'll have to contact Aconex. If you have multiple accounts in Aconex, be sure to set up a global login ID. It will save you time. For more information on how to log into Aconex, visit the Login Help section of Support Central for detailed step-by-step articles.
Now that you know where to find your specific login page, now's the time to bookmark it. If you need access to more than one instance, create more bookmarks. Aconex has a lot of features, and that can appear confusing if you're new to it. Let's take a quick look at the available modules. Here we are on the Tasks page. It's always the first page you see when you first log in. Along the top are the different modules. Now you won't necessarily see all of them because not all projects use them. Starting with the modules that are available to all projects. Think of Tasks as your home page. It has a list of things that need your attention from the other modules, plus some process insights at the top. Then we have Documents, where we manage all project-related documentation. You'll spend a lot of time in this module. Next is Mail, and that's where we manage all project-related communication, and you'll also spend a lot of time in this module as well. The Workflows module is not always available in every project, but that's unusual. This module tracks and manages document reviews on your project. Then there's the Directory, where you can search for other people and manage mailing groups. Reports is next, and it's where you can use dashboards and insights to see how your project is tracking. The last module that's always available is Setup, and it's where you manage your preferences and settings for you and your team. And what you see here will depend on your assigned role. Now let's look at modules that you won't always see because they may not be in use by your project team. Models is first, and it's where you share, coordinate and update models on your project. Next is Field, and that's used to manage site inspections, issues and defects. Then there's Packages, and that helps teams create, manage and distribute sets of documents. Tenders or bids, depending on what part of the world you're in, manages tender invitations and responses. And finally, we have Supplier Documents, and that's used for coordinating the submission of large sets of documents, think thousands, and it can be used with other organisations as well as within your own organisation. Well, that's a lot of modules, right? And a lot to take in. But we've got you covered with our online help site, and that's where you can find out more about the modules, features and functionality. Along the top, you'll see the modules. Just click for more information.